Liz Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us today in our very mad Strange Intelligences lab. I'm really excited to talk to you about what you've been doing, a little bit about your practice and the strange intelligences that you're working with. But to begin with, for those of you who are not in New Zealand, if you can say a little bit about yourself. For anyone in New Zealand, Liz Mitchell is a very, very well-known iconic fashion designer, materials and textiles expert and consultant. And that's why we're talking to you today about your materials, intelligence, research, and exploration, Liz. Perhaps if you can start by saying a little bit for those who don't know about you.
Kia ora, Liz Mitchell. I'm really known, and for probably the last almost 30 years, working as a fashion designer in Auckland, Tamaki Makaurau, and we have specialised in bespoke tailoring, and have always had a passion and love for wool. So that has been something that initially I belonged to the wool board. There were various things happened along the way to the wool, with the wool industry. But I think that connection early on, I mean, it goes way back to my grandparents' farm as a young child, just being in the shearing shed, just those experiences that are in your sort of just DNA. And then really working with beautiful textiles for my with my bespoke tailoring, and but really I think just that's the opportunity. And then strangely, I sort of, as I was exploring possibilities of what we could do with, thinking about our own wool, and thinking rather than importing and bringing textiles from different mills from England and Italy, why aren't we doing more ourselves in our own country? And I met with a farmer and who had Romney coloured sheep. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to make almost like her own Harris tweed coat with these beautiful animals and their lovely coloured, natural colours of their sheep, from almost blacky chocolate through to a sort of dirty, creamy white or cream. And so for me, this was about 4 years ago, and I'd never really seen the animals being shorn, put my hands in this gorgeous kind of hot, oily, beautiful fibre, and then take away these bags of fleece, and then how to transform that into a textile. And that's been a really wonderful journey for me. And over the course, we had COVID and lockdowns and different things happened. But I think that connection with that living fibre of the wool, and actually with my own creative practice, working with felting and exploring different things, off-loom weaving, that's been a really exciting I don't know, it's just really excited me and made me think more and more about how can we be creating things within New Zealand, not having to rely on supply channels and things, and how can we change and really make wool so much more part of our world, for its properties are so health giving, and so that's the lovely thing with setting up the Wool Revolution Studios space at Corbyn's in Henderson, a place for textile exploration and using felting technology. So that is a new part of what I've been doing, and really that's evolving more as we're looking also at the areas of textile waste that come from the fashion industry, and again, could waste, instead of being something for landfill, actually something with possibilities for future new textiles and materials. So I think if anyone knows me, they know that textile had been a really, really pivotal part of my kind of ethos and, just the things that I love to work with. So that's a little bit of my background.
Liz, given all the things you've been exploring, do you, and I use the word feel, do you feel like, I'm touching the wool as I'm speaking, do you feel like the materials you're working with, for example, wool, have their own strange intelligence?
Absolutely. I mean, I think something about that first encounter with the shearing and just putting my hands in this living fleece that was, it was oily, warm. I took lots of photographs of it close up because it was just so beautiful. And the strange thing is that I can't explain it, but ever since I've been on this journey, it's just the wool. There's something I call myself like almost like the wool gardener, because you're connecting. Actually, the sheep is eating the grass, it's growing its fleece. We shear it. At the end of its life, you can put it. The wool can go back into the earth. It regenerates, feeds the soil. So when you're part of that circular process and involved, I mean, to me, there's something amazing about that, being connected into that. And so, people always say, gardening, having your hands in the earth is a really great grounder for you. And, different people have said that, but I indirectly, with my connection with the sheep and the fleece and the wool, that absolutely has been my kind of revelation. And even when I look at some of the textiles that we've developed with just the energy of the wool. So we have something like a hemp fiber, we wet felt that, and suddenly it's just like this crazy energized surface, and yet the hemp was very straight, and the wool energy is kind of this moving, chaotic kind of yeah. So I can literally see this energy manifest in its properties with some of the felting techniques. So that's a pretty amazing, discovery. And so I don't know, whenever I'm talking about wool, I'm passionately enthused.
No, I can hear it. And we did a project a couple of years ago called Alternative Reality Gardening. And it makes me think of you kind of not just gardening the wool and transforming it and so forth, but it also, we've spoken a bit about some of the workshops you're doing where you're sharing that passion you have for that material, other strange intelligence with other people. Can you say a bit more about that kind of gardening? It's almost like a community gardening of cultivating people's love for this
Well,
other intelligence.
yeah, a lot of people come to the workshops and everyone's saying, what's happened to the wool industry? Why is wool in such a bad sort of state? Because a lot of people kind of just think, wool is at the heart of New Zealand's economic, farming and all of that. And people don't know what's happened. I mean, just something lovely to share. Yesterday we did a workshop out at Mangario Tahuhu, and we're doing peg loom weaving. So we've got from fleece, carpet waste, textile waste, which you can weave on a really simple weaving frame. A woman brought her 4 children, from a 6-year-old to an 11-year-old, to the class, and she said, "Is that okay?" I said, "Absolutely." And what was wonderful, these young people who have never really had any connection with wool, each of them in 3 hours or 2.5 hours made a beautiful woven sort of square, some with fleece, some with the carpet waste, each one uniquely different. And I thought, how amazing that they'd connected. They want to come next week. But it just something happens when people, what they're able to do in a short space, and just with a little bit of guidance and things. But it was just so lovely. And you think, this is the thing that, particularly South Auckland, where so much of that world is synthetic microfiber, polyester materials, cheap fabrics, which are poisoning us. So really, we need, the things with the peg loom, you could create a little mattress that a child could sleep on. It could be their pillow. It could be a little cushion that they could cuddle up to, so, this, and it's wool waste. This is wool that people don't know what to do with. So to me, the lovely thing about working in the strong wool space, I mean, obviously as a designer, merino is amazing to work with. And it's just like, I could pull out some merino and it just, it's silky, it's divine. But we've got an issue. Farmers are literally tipping or burning raw wool fleece because they can't see any purpose for what they can do with it. It costs more for them to share it than they get to the market value. So I just feel we need to be more, just that's what I see. Part of my vision is to kind of get the wool revolution, like get young people kind of thinking, wow, I could do this with wool. I could, there's so much potential creatively.
Liz, you're kind of a weaving person, aren't you? Like, I mean, obviously you use that as part of your practice, but you interweave between communities, and you're interweaving between ideas and between the fashion world and kind of the agricultural world. In terms of weaving new futures, what are you What's your bigger vision? What would you love to do if you had enough support or enough energy or enough resources?
It's
What's the
lovely.
big vision?
It's great to talk about something because we've just applied to Creative New Zealand today about a bigger vision, which is really setting up a textile hub of where we can explore, play, create, use needle felting technology, which people don't really know about. And I mean, so we need, because of the downturn, I mean, textiles have really faded out of a lot of the university fashion courses or materiality courses. They're not but talking with you, I mean, just thinking about weaving and putting, technology. I mean, there's so much to explore, but we do need at the heart is the craftsmanship that the old knowledge is still really relevant, and
Mm.
that's something that I really believe in, that we don't want to lose that. And somehow it's not seen as something to be that universities want to explore. So the opportunity to set up a textile heart, which I began at Corbyn's, but if we could do something closer to the city, then we're connected more to the universities and students and schools. So yeah, just how to build a space that becomes a really amazing textile heart.
Mm. I guess for us, the meeting point or how we're connecting is that RP World have been working with Professor Francis Joseph around future fibres, and we're doing a project with them. And we're also, Kim's been involved for a long time with Francis and others in that space, as you just mentioned, where we're weaving digital with the physical, weaving between traditional knowledge and an emerging knowledge. And it sounds like there's a nice synergy around what you're saying. It's like we're looking at a new kind of evolving ecosystem, aren't we? Where we're having designers work with scientists and farmers trying to do something that's a bit more sustainable and regenerative. And how do we do that? And how do we involve organisations like Creative New Zealand or other funding bodies to invest in that, I guess is the question, right?
Well, we do know that the government, wool is much more in their consciousness. We have a minister of wool. We've got a
Mm.
function tonight, which is with Brenworth Carpet, a flock who do amazing things, interweave. So there is already kind of a scalable kind of use of wool. I mean, I just believe that, like, even if you think of the wine industry, that understanding your raw materials and the different breeds of sheep and what that could mean. So when most of those bigger scale are just taking wool on average and just using kind of like lots of it, which of course that's needed for the farmer. But if we knew that the different breeds, like the Valet, just the Bromley, the Corriedale, the Perrindale, like they've all got different properties, and we need to understand those fibres, what are their strengths, what would be ways to use them. And so that really is about small scale, going back to small scale manufacturing and really having a textile research. I mean, a lot of this has actually been covered by ag research and things like that, but somehow we're locked off from that knowledge, which we've already, in a way, as taxpayers paid for.
Mm.
So it's frustrating that you don't want to be wasting time. But I think if you've got creatives connecting in with science, that's a really interesting space. And also thinking long term, what could come from this? Because a lot of things have been done, but nothing happened after, this different innovations thinking. So we've got to create pathways that can have economic meaning and, long term. So we need the whole mix of the farmer, the educator, the creative, that we all need to be working together, because I think much bigger things are done collectively,
100%.
collaboratively.
And Liz, I haven't. This is like a giant world, which I'm sure we could talk for a very long amount of time for. And every time I lift my hands up, I can feel the sticky wool that you're talking about. It's almost alive. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you think is really important for people to hear about this world of fibre and wool and the strange intelligences that you're dealing with in it?
I think just, the more the opportunities to actually showcase the creative potential. Just I think that people, have in their mind, sometimes I even know, talking with Creative New Zealand, felt is not seen as well, I can look internationally and see amazing things happening with wool felt, but it's a new kind of using that as an art practice. In an art practice is not is it's new. It's not, and obviously if you start something and you're the first in your own country, you can see some, people that you could resonate with internationally. And obviously there's a deep Central Asia, all the felting technologies and, amazing things through history that they've been part of. But the exciting thing is to take it into new spaces. And that could be, we live in this hard, surfaces of buildings. When you go to talk with people, but the more, if you created a whole wool home just with all things around you, it would just feel beautiful, and it would be soft, and sounds would be, we'd be able to hear each other clearly. When you go into a restaurant, different public spaces, and you're like, oh, you can't hear people. And, and wool is there as amazing acoustic properties. So, we've really got, it's right there before us. Why aren't we doing more? So, we just need advocacy, kind of just reaching out. And I think also, I perhaps get frustrated because I go into universities and the students, and you think, why aren't they working with wool? I mean, they could be given it would be gifted to them. The farmers want solutions, yet they're not somehow, so I just want to be part of that, elevating the connection between the farmer and this beautiful animal, its fleece, its fibre, and its potential.
Liz, honestly, I feel like going out, grabbing some wool and doing all sorts of mad things with it after talking to her. Completely energized. Thank you, Liz, for sharing in this time a little bit about your passion for that. And what we're going to do as part of when we post this out is for people to look for links so that we can connect to you. And if people are interested in exploring some of the things you're talking about, or going on the workshops that you're delivering at the moment, if it's appropriate, or asking about workshops, they'll be able to do that, as I understand.
Yes, and I'm hoping that there's an opportunity to come north and share in some of the workshops that you've been initiating. So looking forward to that. So
marvelous. Thank you so much for your time, Liz. And for those of you listening, please subscribe in whatever method you're listening to this. And please follow Liz and her mad journey with the strange intelligence of wool and fibre. It's a marvelous thing in the world to see people working in this transdisciplinary way, in a way that actually supports the planet as well. So thank you so much for that. It's a nice counterpoint to what I guess is some of the darker things that we've heard about fast fashion. This is the opposite extreme, where we're actually doing something to feed the planet as a result of what you're doing, Liz. So thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. It's been lovely to share.